Each of us has our own unique background and story of how we became a part of Chiefs Kingdom.
Our reach is far and wide, with fans all over the world cheering on our Kansas City Chiefs.
Everyone donning the red and gold has figuratively signed that mutual agreement and come together for one common purpose.
For 76,000 of us at a time, to descend upon Arrowhead, man our stations, let out our loudest battle cry to the tune of 142.2 decibels, and make that stadium rock until our opponents beg for mercy.
We are unrelenting in our pride for this city, these players, and this team. This is the show for the allies, Arrowhead Allies.
Good evening, kiddies, and happy Halloween! Today's tale of terror is sure to make you cringe and your skin crawl. It's a macabre story about the Kansas City Chiefs, a football team that went to Denver on Sunday, riding a 16-game winning streak. Let's just say the final results were a ghoulish surprise. It's almost as if a stern warning about the Chiefs wide receiver room went ignored by all of Chiefs Kingdom, only to come back to haunt them in a devilish way. It's Arrowhead Allies. Thank you for spending your Halloween with us. Just take a look around. This is not your usual crew. Everybody is decked out in their own way. We are all celebrating Halloween. We're trying to have some fun here. We're trying to welcome you all in. But it is all tricks and no treats. I guess we could just kick this to Brian Beshine and he could say, it's the NFL. This is what happens. We could bid you farewell and let you go on your trick-or-treating ways. Brian, is that what we do? We just say, thank you and good night?
Man, look, it is one game, bruh. Like,
thank you and good night.
Bruh, it is one game. Calm down, man. I'm going to be the voice of reason. I can see that already.
Yes.
Look, yeah, man, we celebrated Halloween with the Allies tonight, baby. I can't be 1997 prime or what I consider to be peak HBK, but I'll settle for 2023, man.
Absolutely. We love it, but we do not love what has happened with this offense. The receivers, we saw what happened. Sky Moore dropping that pass in the end zone, MVS fumbling, McCole Hardman back there returning a punt and muffs it. So many just bad things happening. Mahomes trying to force things because I said he's a gunslinger. He's got to do it. He can't just check the ball down for 60 minutes, throws those interceptions. The defense, the run defense, we're going to have to talk about that. Shane, what did you see, my friend? It was bad news out there.
I saw the defense play well. The defense, the defense did have give up an 8-minute drive to start the second half, but Justin Reed and the special teams blocked the punt. George Karlaftis had 2.5 sacks. And, I like what the defense did for the Chiefs. If you would have said Russell Wilson won't drive the length of the field at all for any touchdowns, I would have said I like our chances of winning Sunday. The Broncos only had to go, what was their longest scoring drive? 50 yards, maybe 48. But that was the good. The defense was the real good. The bad, Sky Moore's a bust. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to put it out there.
Come on.
We have to give him more time to develop. It's only in his second year. We got 2 more years.
He's 8 games into his second season in the NFL. He was due to shine from jump. He dropped a big pass on 4th and 28 on Thursday Night Football to kick off the season. That would have made everybody forget about Tyreek Hill. He should have caught the touchdown pass. He should have caught the touchdown pass that would have made it 21-16 with 10.5 minutes left in Denver. Andy Reid's going to stick up for him because nobody said anything about the defensive back touching his arm while he had both of his monster hands. The monster hands that Sky Moore was supposed to have. It's Halloween. Sky Moore was supposed to have was touted coming out of his tiny school of having these huge hands that he would be able to catch the football. He had both
locate it first.
He had both of his monster-sized hands on it while a Broncos DB's pinky was on his left elbow, and he dropped it. I'm disappointed in Sky. There's no way in hell he should be freaking dropping passes when he's on the field that much. He's on the field more than any other player, and he's playing terrible. I'm really disappointed. So But yes, it is one game we lose. Clint and I, as well as Brian B. Shinen, picked Denver to win this game when we did our Labor Day weekend prediction show. We said, yeah, the Chiefs streak is probably going to end in Denver. So we shouldn't be saying that. But I was able to accept losing. But once Sky Moore dropped that pass, it really made me freaking mad because we've waited for him to step in and be the critical receiver to make those clutch catches. Pat Mahomes Sr. slogan: big players make big plays in big time games. You don't drop the football on 4th and 28. You don't drop the football on a touchdown pass. It's right in your freaking hands, even if the DB's pinky's touching your left elbow.
Andy Reid disagrees.
PI. What are we talking about? It's hard to catch that ball when a guy is yanking your left arm back.
Oh, come on.
You expect him. Hey, wait, you expect him to make that play.
Yes.
But, it's really tough. But that was one of those games. I like to always throw in basketball. I'm a huge basketball guy. As you see Kobe Bryant here for Halloween.
This is pre-cheating on Vanessa.
Yeah, this is be nice. This is actual Kobe.
I love Kobe.
He was really amazing. But I think that it was one of those games. Like you see in the NBA, sometimes a team come out and makes 23s. There's nothing you can do about it. They're making everything. Everything went wrong for the Chiefs. And, and they were still in the game. The fact that they had 5 turnovers, you're supposed to lose by 40 points with that type of game. We had Patrick Mahomes who was trying to do his MJ impersonation. It didn't work. He was sick. But it was just a game that once I was watching it early, I was like, yo, something's looking off with this. The MVS,
it's off, all right.
Miko, with the muff punt, Sky with the drop. Mahomes was missing a lot of guys where, it's still that trust issue between him and the wideouts where he just has to let the ball rip so that he could allow guys to make plays. He's forcing it a little to Travis Kelce to where you're seeing guys even in the spots running open and he isn't throwing them the ball. But it was one of those games. The Chiefs average a game like that every year. Last year it was against the Colts. This year it's this Denver Broncos game. We hate it because it's a rivalry as a team within the division. But
and they stink.
Yeah, and they stink. But the Colts stunk last year. Matt Ryan was at quarterback. What's Matt Ryan doing this year? At home. Probably recording his show called The Falcon Allies.
Oh God! Might watch that.
Let me interrupt, Michael. Look, man. He should have caught that pass. Period.
No, I agree.
I'm not taking no pass interference. I ain't. It was mano y mano. Patrick put the ball where it needed to be. He couldn't come up with the catch. MVS is the play. That play really pissed me off because the fundamentals, man. Catch the ball, tuck it, and go. You're in the NFL. You're not supposed to be fumbling like this. McCole, he was being greedy. He said it on Twitter. You don't catch the ball right there inside the 10, inside the 5-yard line, wherever he was in that area, man. Let it go. Get the ball at the 20, bro. That's just a result of guys trying to make a play, trying to force things to happen, and not playing within themselves and what they're supposed to be doing. That's worrying about other things. But the wide receivers are a problem. Plain and simple. It is. Look, no, it is. Kadarius Toney, where is he at? It's like he's used as a decoy now. Like McCole Hardman gets more action than Kadarius now. Justin Watson couldn't come up with a big play. Patrick, I know he overthrew Justin Watson on a play as well. Patrick was off. But the man had the flu. Bro, do something with the flu. Do anything with the flu. You can't. It exhausts you. It takes the energy from you, which is why if Patrick didn't have the flu on that 4th and 2 that he threw to Sky Moore, he would have ran that. It was well within the grasp of him running, him getting those, 3 to 4 yards because he was backed up in the pocket. So it was about 3 to 4 yards that he could have got. But you saw Patrick making errant throws, not being on target, and the man was sick, man. But those wide receivers, it's no excuse, man. No excuse for this game, the Denver game, and that Detroit game. You can point the fingers at the wide receivers for both of those L's.
Agreed. And
Wish we were undefeated. Wish we would have got a receiver.
I think that so a group that we're not talking about enough needs to get some of the blame as well. That's coaching. You figure that this is the offense you're going to bring out. Andy Reid is, even on Monday, they didn't make a move today, of course, but even on Monday, like it looks like we're going to stand pat. So it's on you, Coach Reid, to get the best out of this offense. Your defense has played some of the best football that we have seen in 5, 10, maybe 10 years.
Watch out for the run defense. Watch out for the run defense.
That too, but you're missing Nick Bolton. A couple guys got banged up. Willie Gay went out. Drew even missed some snaps. So that was kind of tough out there. But it's the offense. Like Andy Reid is this guru of offense that we always talk about it. So we need to get the best out of this offense. He needs to work his magic to get the best out of these receivers. Kadarius Toney, like you said, Brian, he was a guy that people were like, he's going to be the number one. I know that we were saying sky, but that was only because Kadarius missed training camp. So we expected him to make this huge jump, being a former first-round pick, and he has turned into nothing at all. I think he played, 13 snaps last week. So it's so perfect that we get this matchup with Miami because either it's going to be an embarrassing loss or the Chiefs are going to shut everybody up. But I'm so happy that this bye week is coming because it is much needed, especially after a loss to the Denver Broncos.
Well, one of these things isn't like the other. I'm going to play this video. We can talk over it. Oh, that looks like the Steelers. Maybe that's George Pickens hurling two Jags defenders as they run into each other for a touchdown. Pittsburgh Steelers, George Pickens. Boy, it'd sure be nice to have a weapon like him on the outside, but I guess he just doesn't fit in this offense, or he's got some character concerns. He likes
if only two ballsy individuals, Johnny Lawrence and John Rambo, didn't go to the scouting combine and hold Brett Veach's feet to the fire on this issue back in February, only to have people call us crazy, call us stupid. You guys don't know football. Boy, we sure talked to Brett Veach about this exact issue several months ago, guys, referring to George Pickens right there, and it just doesn't fit. He wants the ball. He's good at football. So, of course, he doesn't fit here. I agree.
That was a good question that you had to Brett Veach, and he gave you guys a good answer.
A lot of people have said it's a terrible answer, and I agree.
I don't know First off, I don't know why anybody would say that was a bad question. You guys aren't bad for asking that question.
No, the answer was bad.
And before we go too far with George Pickens, he had one catch for 22 yards. That's it. Like, that's all.
Well, Sky Moore had 1 for 8.
It's Trubisky. Sky Moore had 1 for 8. He had 1 for 22, hurling two defenders as they smash into each other, leaving one injured and a touchdown. But hey,
there's nothing we can say, bro, about
I agree.
about that pick and probably the Metcalf McCole pick. Like, it is what it is. My thing is, I don't live in the past.
Two Super Bowls
we have, and I think that that's where the Chiefs are, and that's why they didn't make any moves at the trade deadline. The Chiefs were never going to make any moves. They weren't going to do that. They need to focus on trying to develop this talent.
Yep.
These guys are they're still young, man. They're still young guys. And I know Rashee Rice, we didn't talk about him dropping the pass. Adrian Truth, what's up, fam? I see you tapping in. He's talking about we need to feed Rice. Well, Rice has to catch the ball too. Everybody's problematic.
When you see it, you see the red zone stats here from 2022. Everyone's like, well, look, this offense, it's operating much like it did in 2022. There was no Tyreek Hill then. But you see this red zone situation, it's becoming a thing. 16 of 31 at trips, 51.6%. That is an issue. It's a thing. It's something to watch because not only do you have to think about short yardage being a problem, which the Chiefs have not been able to conquer for the past couple of years, now there's red zone issues. The good news being, Shane, Harrison Butker is having his best year as a pro. So I guess that's what we are. We are, remember in 2015 when we had to get like 6 field goals to try to keep pace with the Cincinnati Bengals? I guess that's what this is now.
It sure looks like it. I mean, there is a problem with the red zone. Patrick Mahomes, I'm sure he'd take the blame, putting it on. He'd say blame him, but it's kind of hard to blame him when he's the only one out there seems to making plays. I think the flu hurt him, and it obviously did, but he won't use that as an excuse.
Sure.
So I don't think we can either. He played bad. He overthrew Justin Watson when he had him open in I believe it was early in the fourth quarter. So there is a concern. There's a concern across the board at wide receiver now. We can keep talking about DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Tyreek Hill, but they're not here. And we won a Super Bowl without all three of them. So we need to think about what we're going to do.
I want to continue winning Super Bowls. We've got a big problem, and I just wanted to get ahead of this. Sorry, my bad.
I'm just saying. No, let me finish. I'm just saying, what are we going to do now to make this season where we don't slip? Who do we trust now? Who can make the plays? Who can step up with Sky Moore struggling immensely? Who will be that guy to get the Chiefs over the hump?
Yeah, I think they have to. Yeah, they have to pick their like three core guys and say, we're going to roll with you guys. You're going to get the targets, and you're going to come and have to make plays. But the biggest disappointment for me, I know we want to look at the receivers, but it's that running game. Like, I really thought this year Andy Reid was going to say, hey, we got this guy in Pacheco that looks like can run this football. He helped us win the Super Bowl as a rookie. He's going into year 2. We know how these running back contracts go. He may not be a Chief, in a couple years. So let's get everything we can out of this guy. And the fact that he has 8 carries for 40 yards.
I mean, if I live in the past, then you guys and wanting to run the football is living in the never was.
No, it's not. No, it is not. That is the problem. No, it is not. Yes, you need to run the football. This is why this is the problem.
You do. You're not going to. Andy Reid doesn't do it.
This is the problem, bro. The problem
is the problem. I'm just saying it's not going to happen.
How come it's not? That's winning football games.
Because Andy Reid doesn't do it.
Whenever Pacheco does get 20 carries, the Chiefs win. It's proven.
Yeah.
Whenever you feed Pacheco, he is productive. He's averaging, I believe, over 4 yards per carry. Whenever you give that man the ball, you got to feed him. And it only makes sense when the defenses are playing zone and they're backing up.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying other than the fact that Andy Reid won't do it.
But
I agree with you, though.
The 2 Super Bowls, who was the star of the playoff run? The first Super Bowl, Damian Williams, and he helped finish off the Niners. Last year, it was Pacheco who emerged. He had 8 carries, 40 yards. That's 5 yards per carry, but it's the fact that they don't run the ball, and that's hurting them in the red zone. Like, in the red zone, you have to give that guy to the ball and let him fall forward like he does most of the times he runs the football, and that's how you put the ball into the end zone. That's why McCaffrey works the way he does. With the Niners, whether you're handing it to him or throwing him the ball, let everybody drop back. Let them focus on Kelsey. You have a guy in Pacheco that I thought coming into the season that the Chiefs were going to be like, he is going to be our new Kareem Hunt. Let's get the most out of this guy. But Andy Reid and that offensive staff is not going that way. So I think they have to figure that out. That's why I'm happy this bye week is coming so that they can reevaluate themselves and say, hey, maybe we need to coach this team this way because we are a different team from the last couple years.
In the words of Shawn Michaels, I got 2 words for you.
For who?
Run it.
Eric Bieniemy.
Ooh, well.
They need Eric Bieniemy just to get on their ass and hold them accountable. That's what they need him for.
Yeah, that's true.
And to instill some of that run.
It's legitimate. It's legitimate because we've never had a situation where so many wide receivers are on the field, and why isn't this guy having more snaps than that guy? Like, Tony had less snaps in the Charger victory than Justin Ross. So Tony's supposed to be the number 1 wide receiver. So the offensive identity it's a concern because we don't have one.
That's very concerning considering you have the best quarterback in the history of time.
And it's just like, Kelsey just turned 34 at the beginning of this month. So we're going to have to keep thinking about not trying to depend on him because he's going out. There's a lot of third down plays. It'll be like, wow, it's 3rd and 9. And you'll see Travis Kelsey stand on the sidelines next to Rashee Rice. And you're going, 3rd and 9. Kelsey's not out there. Our only wide receiver showing any promise whatsoever isn't out there. This isn't going to be good. We're concerned.
Not only are they not using Pacheco enough, I don't see McKinnon. I don't see the screen game.
True.
I don't see McKinnon on those 3x1s out there getting in those tight spaces, maybe on those third mediums. Like, McKinnon was a key factor throughout the whole season, he had 9 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand why he's not getting in the game either.
But everything feels off. Everything feels discombobulated. This offense as a whole, and here we are, 8 games through the season. It kind of is what it is right now. It is discombobulated. And that goes all down the line. I mean, Travis Kelce's having a Travis Kelce season. Sure. He missed the first game, which still is inexplicable when you look back on week 1 that we lost that game, and that Kelce and Chris Jones just set up in the crowd, and it was like a preseason game. But yet somehow I look at the schedule and it counts. The Chiefs are 6-2 and currently in possession of the 1 seed. And I think that's, as we go forward, as we kind of switch into looking at the Dolphins here, that's what is on the line over the next 9 games of the season, guys. The 1 seed is up for grabs on Sunday. It's probably going to be up for grabs again on down the line, because bad news, the Bengals are back. You still got to play the Bills at home. You're going to have to play the Eagles after that bye. So the 1 seed's going to potentially be on the line a lot over these next several weeks. And it starts Sunday as we head to this Dolphins game. To me, it's the biggest game of the year. It's kind of a travesty that's being played in Frankfurt, Germany. No, I don't even know what you would eat if you went there. I don't know what this is. I don't know what international games are. It doesn't register with me. I'm an American that grew up watching American football. I don't know what this is. I don't care about Germany or England or anywhere else. That's just me. But Noah, what would you eat if we went to this Germany game?
You're muted.
We can't hear you, Noah.
Can't hear you, Noah. You're muted. Turn yourself on.
This would have been good. This is why I went to Noah. He's the pickiest eater.
Come on, Rambo.
I am.
Yeah.
I guess just a lot of bread, maybe a brat. Shane said a brat. So I'm just trying to fill myself with bread and water and just try and make it through the trip. And good news is I'd lose a bunch of weight because I'd just be eating bread and water. Like I'm in prison pretty much. Like
no, German food's not bad. It's not bad.
See, people tell me food isn't bad and they list things and then I try it and I hate it.
You've never had a schnitzel, my man?
No.
Hey, is Dirk Nowitzki going to be there? That's the only question I want to know. Is Dirk going to show up?
That'd be good.
The biggest football game maybe of the season in his home land. That would be great to see it happen. But it's going to be. I really hate that they did this to this Chiefs Dolphins matchup. It was supposed to be the biggest moment. Tyreek coming back, beer being thrown at him. It was supposed to be that type of game, and the NFL just ruined it. And it's at 6:30 in the morning for me, and that's crazy.
That's brutal.
So it's like the excitement, they kind of took some of it away, but it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a bounce back game for the Chiefs. The Dolphins are playing some great football. And, it's going to be great, man. I can't wait to see it so early in the damn morning.
Yeah, it is going to be 8:30, but let's go back. I know we're kind of moved on from the wide receivers, but we can never really move on from the receivers because we got to hear what Marcus Spears had to say about this kind of pregame into Monday Night Football. He was sitting with Ryan Clark, and he had some thoughts on the Chiefs and their wide receivers.
It wasn't as simple as the illness.
Uh-oh.
Time after time watching this game, I saw Patrick Mahomes have to hold the football and run around. And we get enamored with Pat Mahomes and the plays that he can make improvisational-wise. But if you look at this game, as I watched this tape on the plane this morning, it was so much of this. It was so much of trying to figure out where am I going with the ball. There was no timing and efficiency outside of the times that he threw to Travis Kelce and the one that Sky Moore dropped. They have a wide receiver problem in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Veach, the general manager, who we've lauded and done a phenomenal job at building this team in the midst of paying Patrick Mahomes the type of money he's paid, paying Chris Jones, paying Travis Kelce, they have yet to identify a guy on the outside that can consistently win. They've had up moments where you say, okay, this might be the guy. He may be coming on. But yesterday against Denver, flu or no flu, it was him holding the football, waiting on someone to uncover. That's a wide receiver.
It's a wide receiver problem, waiting on someone to uncover. We see it right here. We do it every week, and we're doing it again, especially this week with us traveling to Germany to take on the Dolphins. Tyreek, 1,014 yards, 8 touchdowns. And that's a lot of names over there for a little more yards, less touchdowns. Rashee Rice, I was told rookies can't perform in this offense. And, maybe he's not really performing, but he is the best of the bunch. And you've got a lot of veterans in there, your Watson, your MVS, and then Tony, Hardman, Sky. they're just not pulling their weight. And so we've got a group of 7 guys there, and they are just trying to live up to what Tyreek Hill did and falling vastly short.
And we'll see how that matchup goes. We'll see on Sunday how that plays out on the football field with our 7 guys against Tyreek Hill. God, they also have Jalen Waddle too. God help us all. And a good running game. And they're getting healthy at a time where the Chiefs are getting a little unhealthy. That's something to watch here. We see it. Noah, we've talked about it. Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey are back. Their best corners. They were having a lot of trouble in the passing game kind of leading up to this, but you saw Jalen Ramsey got a pick already on Sunday. And then you got Terron Armstead due back as the Dolphins offensive line has been kind of a patchwork situation.
They've had like 3 and 4 guys out the last few weeks, but it sounds like they're going to maybe all be back except for one. Terron Armstead might be out. He's just coming back off that 4-week IR, and they're wondering whether they should play him against the Chiefs or sit him out because they have a bye week coming up after this as well. So that'll be something to watch. If he's out, then the Chiefs, if you can get pressure on Tua, that disrupts everything that they want to do. Their whole game plan is give Tua time, let those guys get downfield and throw it. And the Chiefs, Sack Nation here, are getting after the quarterback, 11 sacks in 2 games. Hey, I throw some positive stuff in here.
Nah, y'all act like y'all scared, though. No,
I'm terrified. I'm terrified.
Keep going. Let's go.
Scared to death. It's Halloween.
I'm so happy. Okay. I'm so happy that you mentioned that because, like you said, watching, the Dolphins games, you see that you can attack them as far as having a pass rush. And with Karlaftis out there looking like Jared Allen 2.0, Chris Jones being Chris Jones, Hugh, and just all the guys that can attack, I'm very intrigued to see if they can get home and make it tough. Because we seen Tua. Whenever Tua is pressured, he isn't Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow making plays like that to where if you can attack him, you can make it way, way tougher on them, which is going to give the Chiefs a huge opportunity. And I'm telling you this now, guarantee the Chiefs will not turn the ball over 5 times this game, and that's going to help the Chiefs a lot when it comes to this matchup.
Yeah, I sure hope not. That would be ugly in Germany. But we do have and look at this. You could probably take Willie Gay off that list right there because he has a tailbone injury, and when you start seeing the injury report pop up, he's not going to play on Sunday in Germany, guys. You could scratch that name off.
Darius Harris off the Raiders practice squad. So yeah.
Yeah, the linebackers are concerned, fellas.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the run defense earlier, and Nick Bolton solves a lot of those issues. And of course, we're not going to have him back till December. With Willie Gay being out, Drew Tranquil was he served well. I think Drew Tranquil is playing what he's supposed to play, which is the backup to Nick Bolton, where he's not supposed to be the starter. But unfortunately,
he's a smaller guy taking on blocks, shedding blocks, and the run game is not his strong suit.
And he was getting nicked up out there too. Yeah, he was getting nicked up. So the linebackers are concerned, especially with the Eagles coming to Arrowhead in a couple weeks. But the focus is on the Dolphins and the graphic that you put up earlier with the D line. Man, look, that's the problem solver with the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Tua does, first off, you build a fence. All of we got some big guys. Dana's probably the smallest guy out of that. Tua is 6 feet. Okay, he's going to need to be able to see over these guys. So if the D line can really
balls down with the meta
because they're going to throw quick. That's what they do. Tua's not going to hold that ball. He'll hold it every couple of plays, but every play they like to do short passes. They like to get the ball out of Tua's hands.
Dolphins are 4th in sacks though as a team, so they can come after us as well.
As long as our D line can get after it, and cause some havoc. This could be a Chris Jones game coming up.
Here's the defenses.
The Chiefs will definitely be fine.
Points per game, Chiefs second, 16.1, right behind those Browns, and then yards per game, 4th, only allowing 287 yards per game. And the Dolphins, that woeful defense, but they haven't had Ramsey and Howard together. This should be the first week that they will be playing together, so that could make things more difficult. Points per game, they're 25th, allowing 25 points per game. And yards, they're 15th, allowing 329. Well, when we look at the offenses for these teams,
oh boy,
Nelly. Chiefs are down to 12th, 23.4 points per game. really pedestrian right there. Yards per game. They are fourth. They're getting the yards, but we talked about the red zone woes. They can't punch it in. They're settling for 3 instead of 7. And the Dolphins first, everything first in offense because that's just what they do.
Man, boy, oh boy.
You sound
me
so
scared.
shook.
Hey, it's Halloween. Everyone's
Both
entitled to
of you.
one good scare. And
We both played the Broncos. Dolphins 70-20. Us 28-32. Really, when you
apples
combine
and
the
oranges.
games.
Apples and oranges. Come on.
What does that mean?
What it means is we went to the Houston Texans last year and went to overtime and almost tied them, and we still won a Super Bowl. One game has nothing to do with the other.
Well, no.
Willie Gay, we need to talk specifics about Willie Gay's tailbone. He might not play today or Sunday, and that's a concern. You know, sure. I saw a lot of Cochran playing, and I'm like, who is Cochran?
Why that's the guy that Travis Kelce punched in the training camp.
Yeah, why is there a number 43 out there? Is this Thomas Gafford, the former long snapper?
And Cam Thomas, number 44, I think, was out there too.
Well, he was out there
from Indiana.
Yeah, so there was too many snaps with Cochran out there. And then I found out Willie Gay hurt his tailbone. So if we're out there with Cochran, and I'm concerned Sunday without Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. I know Tranquil can fill in for Nick Bolton, but if we got Cochran out there for Willie Gay, man, oh man,
it's
not ready.
Not going to be good. So.
I'm really looking at this game for Miami because if you look at their wins, I'm looking at they beat Chargers, New England, Denver, Giants, Carolina, New England. What is their best win? Like they're the two teams that actually gave them a challenge, they were blown out 48-20, 31-17. The Eagles were in control most of the way. So we're going to really see what they are about because they haven't really beat anybody. And looking at their schedule going forward, they got Raiders, Jets, Commanders, Titans, Jets again, Cowboys, Ravens, Buffalo. Like this game in the last three is really going to tell us about the Dolphins. So before we praise them, I know Tyreek is doing his thing.
To be fair, in the Eagles game, they were without both starting corners and 4 offensive linemen, but you know.
Yeah, hey, still lost 48-20. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the Dolphins fan, Noah. Look at him. Golly.
I'm being fair. Fair and balanced, impartial down the line.
Where's your Bernie Parmalee jersey at, fam?
Ooh, I liked Bernie.
Bernie was great. I
Coach for the Chiefs,
Jackson, OJ McDuffie.
Where's your Pat Surtain jersey?
Your Brian Cox jersey, is that hanging up on the wall behind your Chiefs?
Got the skateboard coming out of my back. Yeah, absolutely.
But so I'm just very, interested to see which Miami team is showing up because the Chiefs are going to be ready to go. They're hearing all of the media. They're hearing the fans talk about how bad they look. Pat will love nothing more to shut everybody up and get this win to go over until a bye week. So I'm very interested to see what Dolphins team are we going to get because they don't have great wins. And when they play teams that most likely that are going to be into the playoffs, they got smacked up. So, let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, Michael. And you do look at it that way. And I think that, like, for a lot of us, you look at this Dolphins team, and I think that we're someone like, Noah and I, we get enamored with these offenses because you look at that and it reminds you of what the Chiefs were in 2018. You think about the Kareem Hunt.
Oh, the year we didn't win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, well, D Ford, we were in it for 22 seconds. D Ford was offsides. Tony Romo said, oh, that's going to be on the Patriots. The Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Oh, darn. Tony was wrong. It is on the Chiefs. We're not in the Super Bowl. Brian, you've talked a lot about, how cute it is and how this is just some cute little story. Well, we'll see how cute it is in Frankfurt, Germany. And we know they can play well in warm weather. And if they beat us on Sunday, they're going to be playing in warm weather all through December and January too, my friend.
Yeah, okay. Look, man, not only does the weather get nasty during this time of year, but the football also gets tighter. Okay, look, man, big boy football is coming up, and it's coming soon within a couple weeks. I call it after Thanksgiving football. It's different than September football. Oh, you can run up and down the field. You can do all your little trick plays that people have not seen and that people cannot having a game plan for. Oh, yeah, you get to November, it's about 12 weeks of game film out on you, okay? And these guys in the NFL, they can figure these things out. That's why Shaggy, I understand where you are with our linebackers, and I get it. It is concern. But we have to know, man, this is the National Football League. These guys have been practicing these same schemes. They're not the same players. I get it, man.
Mhm.
But this is why you pay Steve Spagnuolo the money that you're paying him. I don't know how much he's getting, but he's a hell of a defensive coordinator. I know that. 3 rings as a defensive coordinator. So, man, look, I believe in the team and I believe in the scheme. I believe that our X's and O's are better than their Jimmys and Joes, period.
I like that.
That was
Did you
good.
believe
And
that last weekend with the Broncos? Did you? I mean,
Look, man, I told you, man, Patrick was sick. The wide receivers.
That was just one of
mess
those.
it
wide
up.
receivers are coming with us to Germany.
Hey,
We're not
that's-
getting a new group. They're coming
Okay,
with us.
but what did the wide receivers do against the Chargers?
The 32nd ranked pass defense, they look pretty good.
I'm just saying, we'll see a more laser focused offense. Patrick is pissed off, dog.
Yes.
He is pissed.
But
okay?
Shane, we haven't seen a game like this. The Chiefs set an NFL record for consecutive games, either won or lost by 1 score less. Shane, you referenced it on Facebook this week. The last time this happened, the Chiefs went to Tennessee, lost 27-3, wound up winning, was it 9 of 10 in the season? So take it away on this, because you're someone that clearly is of the mindset that these kind of games are more anomalies, and they certainly are, because I think Patrick's only lost a total of 3 games now by more than 1 score.
And what I said at the beginning of the month stands now, since it's Halloween. It's the end of the month. Look at us. We're all dressed up. But there's always the October swoon for Patrick Mahomes, with the exception of 2018 and 2020. In 19, we saw it against the Texans and the Titans. And who do we beat in the Super Bowl that year? The Texans and Titans. And we looked terrible against them. In 19, we couldn't get them off the field, and we lost 38-32 or 38-35, some high-scoring game in Tennessee. But it was a loss that we avenged. And 2 years ago on Halloween, I mean, I think I was just joining you guys with Janelle Bennett and Kimball Anders, and we were sitting here in last place. We were 3-4, and Tyrann Mathieu and Anthony Hitchens were trolling Chiefs fans on Instagram and Twitter, and that was pretty bleak. Andy Reid turned that team around. We ended up going to the AFC Championship game and losing in overtime. But that is what's good about Andy Reid. He can turn things that are bleak into a positive. And when did he do that? With the Chiefs back 8 years ago when they were 1-5 and they went to London. They didn't leave till Thursday. It was a concern for me.
Mhm.
And they won big over Detroit and went on a 10-game winning streak. It's hard to say what is going to happen. We're going to get to our predictions in a little bit, but I'm going to put this out here now. The Chiefs always do better in January when they're avenging a regular season loss. And I'll leave it at that. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh man, I want to go back to that 2015 team. You talk about bleak.
Yeah,
that was the lowest point in the Andy Reid era, probably.
It was.
Jamal Charles was hurt.
Yep.
We lost to the Bears. We lost to the Vikings.
Mhm.
But man, I'm gonna tell you something. The Kansas City Royals, and I know y'all don't want to admit it, Noah and Clint, but the Kansas City Royals won the World Series that same night. We blew Detroit out 45-17 or whatever it was. It was that Sunday morning. Later on Sunday night, Royals won the World Series, and the Chiefs just went on a tear with no wide receivers because Jason Avant was starting in
Jeremy
the playoff
Maclin.
game.
Come on, Jeremy Maclin.
Jeremy Maclin wasn't playing, bro. He was hurt.
He was Alex Smith's
I'm
only
talking about the playoff
1,000-yard
game.
receiver of his career.
No, in the playoff game versus New England, he was hurt.
He got hurt.
We were at
He
that.
played. He got hurt against the Texans the week before.
Yeah, he got hurt. So yeah, man. I think the Royals propelled the Chiefs to that run in 2015.
Oh God!
And of course, Andy Reid, man, he knows how to turn things around. Most certainly, man. The players love him. Of course, everybody in the organization love him. But I think the thing is, people respect Andy Reid and they follow what he says. Because every locker room isn't like that. I know the Chargers locker room ain't like that. You think the Raiders locker room is like that? Because it's not. And so, man, that's why you got to have full faith in more than just the players. You got to have faith in everybody, including the coaches, because in the NFL, that's what separates this league from, in my opinion, basketball and baseball and other sports. The head coach is just as important as who you have at quarterback, period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair. And we did a poll question. I don't know if any of you guys went to our poll on Twitter and said yes or no. I'm guessing it would have been no. But do you miss Tyreek? Let's get interactive in the chat. You guys can let us know yes or no. Do you miss Tyreek? 80 votes. There's still like 20 hours to go. So maybe the no's can catch up. But boy, the yeses, they do miss Tyreek. 60% to 40% so far through 80 votes.
No, that's cute.
It is cute. I think it's very
Of course you're going to. Let me tell you this. Tyreek Hill is one of my, favorite players, most exciting guy to watch with the Chiefs. Of course you're going to miss him, but they found a way to win the Super Bowl without him. And last year,
they sure made it hard on themselves.
We were doing the same thing. We were crying about the receivers and saying this, that. We miss Tyreek Hill. We probably can pull up a video of you, Noah, going crazy, but that still led to a championship, So we still have a lot of season to go. The bye is coming where they can work out some kinks, and somebody or a couple guys are going to emerge to finish off this season and try to make a push for another Super Bowl. But of course you're going to miss Tyreek Hill. Me being a Laker guy, when Shaq was traded, of course we were all heartbroken and like, oh, we miss Shaq. But the fact Kobe was able to go and get 2 more made it all worth it. And the Chiefs made it worth it right away. They lose Tyreek, they win the Super Bowl that first year. So you miss him, but do you need him to win? No. And that's what matters most.
Well, we got Lamar Odom out of that Shaq trade, by the way.
Yes,
so
yeah.
I think since we are looking at the current situation and we are moving forward, it's going to fall at the feet of Matt Nagy. It has to, because you look at a current situation. Why are we struggling? And who's making the plays? I know people would say, hold on, Shaggy. Andy Reid's calling the plays, and that's understandable, but it falls at the feet of Andy Reid and Matt Nagy, because there is an issue with the drops. Aren't we second or third in drops? Lance Goodall posted a tweet first. Okay, thank you. So we're in the top
still
2.
6-2.
So yeah, and we're still 6-2. So who's the wide receiver coach? Did the last year's? I think our last year's wide receiver coach went with Bieniemy to Washington. So
yeah, he did.
So we're going to have to hold the coaching staff accountable moving forward, because we're not going to go back in time and draft DK Metcalf. So we're going to have to hold the coaches accountable and figure out why in the hell they can't
get back in time, Shane. I'm trying.
I know we're trying to get Time Machine and get DK. I'd love that too, but where we're dealing with this current situation, it's time to blame Andy Reid and Matt Nagy. I mean, because this is the squad we got.
You just point a finger, tell me to blame Shane, and I'll blame him.
There you go.
It's on them. It's on those guys. Andy Reid is his guru. We need to see it happen. Just like with Belichick over there, the defense isn't that great. The Chargers, it's like you got Staley. You're a defensive guy. Why does the defense suck? So because it's our offense struggling, Spags is doing his job. It's on Andy. It's on Matt to get the best out of this offense. You have 15 in 87, so you have to find a way to turn this thing around.
We love Tyreek Hill for his services, but if it wasn't for that trade, we wouldn't have McDuffie, wouldn't have Karlaftis, and we wouldn't have this defense.
We wouldn't have Karlaftis. We just wouldn't have McDuffie. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's hear how the trade went down from the man himself, Mike McDaniel, and how excited he was and didn't think it was even humanly possible that this player would be on the market. He couldn't be on the market. You have to do everything you can to keep him. The Chiefs said, no, we don't.
And then Chris walks in. He's like, hey, so I just got a call from the Chiefs talking about Tyreek Hill. And I'm like, what? This is why I'm not a GM. I'm like, tell them they can have everything.
I do the same thing.
But then once I did that, I was like, wow, that's pretty irresponsible. I thought he was untouchable. Then there's like, hey, it's not looking good. Then it's looking great. And he shows me the phone. Talk to him. And so then I get on the phone and I just immediately go into recruit mode. And I'm going ham. This is all I got. I'm shooting every shot that I have deep into it. And like 20 seconds or 30 seconds into me just not giving an iota of time for him to speak, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, coach, I'm coming. It was already done. And I was just like,
you're selling?
I was like, what? Yeah, I was selling. I was like, what? And it just freaked out. I think I yelled. It was the only time I yelled in the office. It was a cool time because it was like, I just would have liked a little forewarning before I just went straight recruit mode. So.
Non-quarterback position, he is how high on the list of guys you would have wanted if you're talking about dream offense type stuff?
No, I quite honestly thought he was one of the untouchable guys that you couldn't get. But then it's ironic you say that exact phrase because you're bringing me back to right when, before I have a time to digest that it's even going to happen, when he comes in and tells me that Tyreek, the Chiefs have talked to him, and I said, Chris, that's like one of the only non-quarterbacks that you do whatever it takes. Yeah, this is one of those guys that's whatever. Mm-hmm. Historical precedent for a receiver match that.
Nailed it. He nailed it. You got to give him that, because that's what Tyreek Hill is, a difference maker. And you know what? Before that trade happened, I thought he was untouchable. I had people calling me, hey, do you think they'll trade Tyreek Hill? I was like, nah, no way in hell. But it happened, and the Chiefs, thank God, because I think if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl, I even think if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl 9 months ago and lose, then Chiefs fans are going to be irate. But they won the Super Bowl from it, and I'm stoked about it. So we got the upper hand. Patrick Mahomes has got 2 Super Bowl rings to Tyreek's 1. We better hope it stays that way because Tyreek Hill's playing like he will be the 2023 NFL MVP. So, right now I'm happy, but I understand the jubilee. I understand the spiritual feeling, the excitement that head coach feels about getting one Tyreek Hill. What do you think?
Man, I don't understand why we keep talking about it.
Well, we do play the Dolphins on Sunday here. Chris G says we're killing the show and talking about Tyreek Weekly. Well,
they call me the show killer.
And Chris G, the Dolphins are going to be meeting us in Germany. Tyreek Hill's on that team. So this will be a hyper-focused, kind of under a microscope here.
We got a title. We got a title.
Hey, Brian, you and Shane, you guys can watch your Super Bowl 57 commemorative DVDs narrated by Rob Lowe or whoever did it.
Played?
And you guys can do that.
Can I give a shout out?
I am addicted to winning. I need it like a crack, like some, like you need a hit, a bump of heroin. The success is addicting, and I have to have more of it. I have to have more Super Bowls. I have to see Patrick Mahomes become the GOAT of all time. I have to see more because you saw what happens when you lose a game like on Sunday. It just like takes your breath away. And I can't give this kingdom up, this throne up to the Bengals, to the Dolphins. I can't do it. So that's what we try to do. We try to figure out what could stop you from winning a Super Bowl. And Noah and I happen to have identified this one little quirky situation coming into this. And now we have to talk about it for most of a show because it's what's rearing its ugly head.
Hey, can I give a shout out? Because I know Tyreek gets all the love. Tua gets all the love. But Jalen Waddle is a baller, man. Like Jalen Waddle is a guy that teams, you have to take, you have to look out for him. He has a speed similar to Tyreek. He can go up and get the ball. Every time I watch him, I'm just like, oh, that's Tyreek too, because he does a lot of things like Tyreek to where it allows Tyreek to have those one-on-ones and to do the things he's able to do. Last week he had like 8 catches, 117 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek had like 7 catches, 112 and a touchdown. So that's a guy that's just as important to this offense. So I'm hoping that the Chiefs are going to come in defensively with a plan because Snead may follow Tyreek the entire game, but what are they going to do with Jalen Waddle?
Have somebody over top of that.
Yeah, it is like, is it going to be McDuffie to follow him the entire time, or are they going to kind of let him roam where he can pick his matchups? Because I believe that if you can slow down Jalen Waddle, that, you can kind of focus in a little more on Tyreek if you can put somebody over the top because you have that one guy that's making it tough for Jalen Waddle. But Jalen Waddle is a problem. I drafted him the last 3 years in fantasy. I've won the last 2. I'm hoping to win this year. So we got to watch out for Jalen Waddle this Sunday.
I like Mike McDaniels. That's a good offense. Yeah. I like Mike McDaniels. Yeah. I really do. He's probably my second favorite coach in the league right now. And kudos to them for what they've done.
Bums. Like, I need to see them to do it against the good teams. And that's what this matchup is going to show me.
Yeah.
When they finish up with the Dolphins, Cowboys, and Ravens is going to show me. But doing it against Carolina, New England, the Chargers, the Chiefs scored 31 on them. The Giants is not really saying much to me.
There's been a lot of moves that have been made since Tyreek was traded, and even kind of before then with bringing in McCole Hardman, that could have led to me shutting up and not talking about this. Draft DK Metcalf, draft George Pickens, try to find a way to sign DeAndre Hopkins. Sky Moore, don't play like ass. I mean, MVS show up and show out and just don't have that one AFC Championship game being the only time that you show up in a Chiefs uniform. I mean, Kadarius Toney show up. Rashee Rice is starting kind of slowly moving his way to the top of this receiver room, but he needs to show me more too and quit the drops. So there's been little areas that they could have shown me that they've really come into their own, and they are the guys that can lead the way into the new era of the Chiefs receiving room, and they haven't done it. They haven't drafted the right guys, and they haven't performed well on the field. So I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm sorry.
It's valid. It's a valid concern that the wide receivers are playing poor. It really is, especially in this era of NFL football. This isn't like, man, we need some blocking down the field wide receivers to get the running backs to the third level. No, the Chiefs are pass freaking happy offense, and these wide receivers, they do have to step up. And it was all Sky Moore. I know they said Kadarius Toney was going to be the number one receiver all offseason, but I really anticipated it being Sky Moore. I anticipated it from week one, and he hasn't been, and I'm really disappointed in it. So the wide receiver room is a concern. So it needs to be addressed, and it needs to start happening this Sunday against Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard. It's on. There's no more freaking waiting around. The Dolphins are going to come to play, and they're going to freaking be psyched. They're already there. The Dolphins are already acclimated to Germany. They got acclimated to Germany last night. Andy Reid has his way of doing things. He's not leaving until Thursday night, so they can practice and fly all day Friday and sleep on the plane, and then arrive and have a quick practice and go take care of business. It worked in London against a really bad Detroit Lions team. I'm concerned about that theory going into this Sunday. What do you think, Clint?
Yeah, that's fair. But you're right. And this is a case where I definitely trust this coaching staff and what to do in these type of situations. We've seen, heck, the Jacksonville Jaguars stayed there 2 weeks and played 2 games. I still don't understand that. That was in London. But yeah, there's different ways of doing this. And, people fly all the time and go to international flights for business, for work. You just got to do it. You got to show up. There's no excuse about how this is going to turn out. Maybe the Dolphins are there too long and it lingers, and I don't know. You don't know how this is going to play out. I do trust Andy Reid, this front office, to get this part of it right. The logistics, I can't really say anything bad about that.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Last year, we look at this Chiefs team. About what week were we satisfied with the receivers? Do you think where we were like, okay, this receiving group could win the Super Bowl? Because I don't think
49ers game.
Which game?
49ers game,
which was like week 7. About week 7. So we're close to that. That Chargers performance last week kind of got us excited, and then, but if you remember, we had the Titans game after the 49ers game where it was like, whoa, this offense looks terrible. And they struggled to beat the Titans at home. So it's going to be tough, but I'm trusting in Patrick Mahomes. I'm trusting in Andy Reid that they're going to figure it out and find a way to do it.
We asked him last year. We got to ask him this year. Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, put on your capes again. You took them off. We need to put those on again all season long to carry us to Super Bowl 58. They did it last year. They got to repeat and do it again. That's a lot of pressure to put on them. I don't want to do it. Some of us do, I guess. Just rely solely on them, put all the pressure on them, put on your cape every single week for an entire season to get us to Super Bowl 58. I hope they can do it again.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes, this is a memo out to you. You're chasing the ghost of Tom Brady. Tom Brady found ways to win with guys that run routes probably like me and Ryan, So Pat has to find a way to make it happen. Tom had Gronk, and he found ways to win. You have Travis Kelce. Now you have the best defense you possibly ever played with. Let's see if you can make it happen, even if you have to dink and dunk and find a way to do that. Just like last year, it can't always be the big plays, but then it's going to come down to Andy Reid. They have to figure out this running game. Pacheco is a guy that can help them. McKinnon is a guy they have to pass the ball to that can help. So it's going to take a unit. It's going to take a village. Brian know what I'm talking about, to win the Super Bowl and play good football offensively. So let's see what they're going to do.
I run a great deep post. That's what I run.
Hey, Sunday's going to be a big one, guys. 8:30 a.m. Set your alarms. It's prediction time here on Arrowhead Allies, as we've reached, as our friend Scott Hansen would say, the witching hour. Actually, I'm very triggered every time he says that, so please forgive me. Scott, I'm trying to get Scott Hansen on this show, guys, by the way. If it ever happens, prepare yourself and be ready to take an upper of some kind, because my God, he's the same in person as he is on Red Zone, and he does not stop. So we're setting up for that. We're going to try to make that happen. But as we get into our predictions for this, Shane, you kind of made some points earlier that lead me to believe that you are going to predict perhaps a Dolphins victory. So I want to start with you. It's Halloween. Don't bring me all the way back to Halloween 1993, where I had to watch the Chiefs go lose like 30-3 to the Dolphins. Okay. So go ahead.
Thank you. Patrick Mahomes' legacy. Patrick Mahomes' legacy is made on when the critics, the experts, the so-called experts on social media and all the sports channels doubt him, to say he's done. Patrick Mahomes, did you see what the Titans did to Patrick Mahomes last time? Did you see what Deshaun Watson did to him when he was on the Texans last time? Did you see what Josh Allen did to him in 2 Octobers, back-to-back Octobers, what Josh Allen did to Patrick Mahomes? I'm definitely going to roll with the Bills. I'm definitely going to roll with the Titans and Texans. They say that every January. Every January, Patrick Mahomes is doubted. He gets his get back. You know what? This Sunday, it's not January. This Sunday is November 6th in Germany. The Chiefs will be without Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, wide receiver still in flux. We're still looking for that identity. The Dolphins will win 44-17.
44.
Yes.
And when they meet in January, whether it's Joe Robbie or back at Arrowhead, where it always is,
Joe Robbie,
all the critics will be saying, I don't know, man. Did you see what the Dolphins did to the Chiefs in Germany? I got to go with Tua and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Ramsey and Xavier Howard and Nick Fangio, the defensive coordinator. He's going to plan that stopped him when he was the head coach of Denver. He slowed him down, and there's no way. And all the odds are going to be against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs when they play the Dolphins. The betting odds will give the Dolphins a 2 or 3 point favorite. And guess who will win in January? The greatest quarterback in NFL history, Patrick Mahomes. Okay. But this Sunday, I like the Dolphins, and I like them big. 44-17. What do you say?
Not only do you get a Sunday in Germany prediction, you get a playoff prediction here from Shane already.
Wow.
Yes.
Love it.
Man. We like to call that Shane is in his bag right now, guys. Man, I'm going to go Dolphins. I'm going to go Dolphins 27-24. I think it's going to be, a close game. It's going to go either way. I think that they're going to make enough plays to squeak it out. But it's going to be a tough game for them because it's going to come down to that pass rush. If the Chiefs go and because they're not going to turn the ball over more than 3 times like they did last week. Like that gave the Denver Broncos everything they needed to win that game. And they only won because of, a drop pass from Sky that helped them, which would have made it much tougher. So if that pass rush can dominate like it has been doing, it can easily be a Chiefs victory. But I think that the Dolphins are going to make enough plays. I think the Chiefs really need this bye week. And if it was after the bye, I would have went Chiefs. But because it's just before the bye, Willie Gay is hurt. He may not play. I'm going to go Dolphins 27-24. Jalen Waddle is going to have a nice game.
Brian, please pick the Chiefs or something. I need 30 yin to this yang.
37-35 Chiefs get the dub. Come on now. What we talking about?
What about this defense, man?
Then we know Willie Gay, man. They go look, man. Dolphins are potent. They got a lot of weapons over there, so they're going to be able to move the ball. Let's not get it twisted. Our D backs can only do so much. But I think our D line and those guys they'll come up and muster up enough to make some sort of stop. Because not having those linebackers in there is going to be interesting to say the least. But yeah, I can't see Patrick Mahomes first off losing this game to Tyreek. Come on, man. Patrick Mahomes is a petty ass dude, man. I'm talking about off the field. Patrick Mahomes is second. Like, can you imagine the conversations he'd be having amongst himself, like in his room when he's on social media looking at all these idiots commenting these idiot football statements about him and the team? Like he's looking at all this stuff, dog. He remembers he displays it on the field, whether he denies it or not, whether he admits it or not. Like he's never going to admit it, but he's a petty ass dude. He's not trying to lose to Tyreek. He ain't trying to hear the noise. Patrick Mahomes going to do whatever he has to do to win this game. We're not losing on Sunday.
Rambo, I've got to go to you next. I believe the Chiefs receiving core is expendable. So Rambo, what mean expendable?
It's like when you show up in Germany and nobody cares because nobody's going to care that the receivers are there. The Dolphins aren't going to care that the Chiefs receivers are there. And this is going to be a party because the Dolphins are going to have a party. It's going to be 31-27. Fins get the win because the only thing that can change that is if some of these offensive linemen they made the trip, but maybe they're not in, and this defensive line eats and gets after Tua. But it sounds like a lot of them are going to play other than Isaiah Wynn, their right guard. I think their left guard, their center is going to play, Teron Armstead. They're going to try and get him back for this game. If all three of those guys are back and they're healthy on that offensive line, I think people forget that it's not just the passing game. They have a really good run game too. And with our run defense really struggling without Nick Bolton now, without Willie Gay, Derek Notty's not the man in the middle that you want there as a run stuffer. So I think they're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to pass the ball. And I don't think they're going to get after Tua enough. So they win 31-27.
Well, let me just say that an enemy deserves no mercy. We flew down to Miami, Florida back in April, interviewed Chris Jones, lost the audio of it. So you're just going to have to trust us that Chris Jones was all about talking about Tyreek Hill and how much they wanted to win this game. He was all about it. If we had that audio, it would have went viral because, I mean, he was talking mad crap to Tyreek. He said, you can piece your sign out of Arrowhead Stadium. That's back when we thought it was at Arrowhead Stadium. So the Chiefs are like the girlfriend that you date that, like, you realize she doesn't really have many interests, but she just sort of like takes on whatever you like. And you're just like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. She morphs into what you are. She's a shapeshifter. The Chiefs in 2023 are a shapeshifter team. They morph into whatever game the opponent wants to play. The Chargers were shooting it out in the first half, and boy, it's offense up and down the field. Minimum scoring in the second half as it became more of a defensive game. And then it gets muddied up in Denver, where the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson threw for 200 yards total in both games. The Chiefs morph to what the opponents are, so I expect the Chiefs to have a little more offensive firepower this week. Of course, they ultimately lose the game 38-31 to the Miami Dolphins. All hail Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins in those beautiful aqua blues. They're going to probably be in all white because the Chiefs are the home team. Brian, you have the worst taste in uniforms I've ever heard, so can't hear anything from you.
The Dolphins uniforms are trash.
It's a top 5 uniform.
Man, you
saw what they wore. I'm talking about what they wore on Sunday. You know, the throwbacks with the gray face masks and the Dan Marino.
Those are okay.
Throwbacks aren't bad.
There's no hope, Brian, for you and Fashman.
Okay.
I mean, golly. So Dolphins win it, and the Eagles also beat the Chiefs, by the way. So in 3 weeks, the Chiefs are going to be 6-4 and a really uphill battle as they're probably going to be locked into a 3 or 4 seed. And it's going to be really fun. We're going to have some fun going forward, guys. Let's stay positive. Let's do it.
Go Chiefs.
He's going to figure this out, baby. Don't worry.
All right.